Was that me?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Film Asylum. We are your hosts, Colin Peters.
John Rochetter.
Damn, man, that's 2 in a row. I was ready to fucking
Two in a
just jump
row.
on you. Fuck.
It's so easy that I could get you at any moment right now, but
I
I'm
know.
going to save it for another time when you least expect it.
You know this is Jeff Manfred, so we're all gonna...
Because, Jeff, the fat man's got his eye on you.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I don't know what to say to that.
Listen, I've been on a permanent nihilist for years because that motherfucker hasn't brought me shit.
Did he bring coal?
No! He forgot about me completely. Just
What the heck?
bypassed my house. I did find some reindeer shit in the yard, though, one day. Might have been dog shit. I don't know yet, but still I'm blaming him.
What's the big difference between dog shit and reindeer shit?
I don't know,
deer
it's a bigger
shit?
animal. Probably look like just shit.
It looks like you, John.
True story.
We got a very, very, very new movie to talk about today, which we don't really do that often. I think the most current one we did was Joker
Yeah, and that was already...
on Blu-ray, I think.
Yeah.
So, this one's actually something that's still a theater release.
Yep.
A brand new release.
On VOD streaming right now.
Yep, and that is Mel Gibson's Fatman.
Mel Gibson playing Santa Claus. And actually Santa Claus, Kris Kringle. That's his name in the movie. This was directed by the Nelms brothers, Ian and Esham Nelms. Never heard of them, but they've done a few films here and there. It stars Mel Gibson, Walton Goggins, Marianne Jean-Baptiste.
Is that Mrs. Claus?
That's Mrs. Claus.
Okay.
Yep.
Thing is, the reason we did this movie, even with it being this brand new, in the last episode, John brought it up. And I'm like, Mel Gibson as Santa Claus, that sounds fucking ridiculous. Until I saw the trailer myself, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta see this fucking movie. And when I did, it caught me off guard. Like, I expected it to be a typical, like, action movie, like, shooting fucking ridiculous. Like, I expected a reindeer just to fucking impale somebody, alright?
Or eat somebody.
I know, man. I was
Have a laser on its head.
I was expecting something. I was like, do you remember from Scrooge, was it the night the reindeer cried or whatever? That crazy, like, shoot 'em up movie?
Yeah.
That's what I expected.
Oh my god.
I expected the elves with, like, M4s and shit.
What's it called? Robert Rodriguez's sequel, Machete Kills, with Mel Gibson, but in a Santa Claus form.
I'm like, I expected over-the-top violence. But I didn't get that at all. I was like, I was taken back. Like, as soon as I was done watching, I started texting these two, like, yo, we gotta do this episode.
Yeah, the trailers definitely show you one thing, but then the movie itself shows you a different thing. This feels very much so like the Coen brothers meets Christmas.
I was gonna say it feels like if Santa Claus was real and met Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. I mean, definitely Walton Goggins' character belongs like in a character in a Coen brothers movie, like No Country for Old Men, being that typical hitman. I want to address one thing. I said that Santa Claus was a hitman. That's not what he is. He's very much so Santa Claus, but he doesn't use his guns to go on a murder spree killing people. This is not Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 or Weird Al Yankovic's The Night Santa Went Crazy. This is none of that shit. Have you ever heard that song?
No, now I gotta check this out.
That's probably more controversial than Silent Night, Deadly Night, because that's a song that's actually about Santa Claus losing his mind, abusing his elves and reindeer, murdering people from house to house. He gets caught by the cops, and the producers and the future director try to make a movie about his killing spree.
And this is a Weird Al song?
This is a Weird Al song.
Wow.
It's called The Night Santa Went Crazy. But in this movie, Santa Claus doesn't go crazy. He uses a gun, yes.
Before we step forward, we're going to say, with this movie being this brand new, we are going to have spoilers throughout it. If you don't want to hear it, just stop now. If you don't care, just continue listening, because honestly, like, there's going to be a lot being thrown out. And I think the movie is maybe, like, 3 weeks old if we're lucky. I think it came out the week before Thanksgiving.
Yes. Good point. Yes. This is definitely going to contain spoilers, and we just want to let that be known for everybody right now.
Because we don't need any hate for like spoiling a movie for everybody.
Yeah. We're new at this yet. With a brand new. But a quick rundown of this movie is Mel Gibson is Santa Claus, and he's married to a Mrs. Claus. He has a little... It's not in the North Pole. It's actually up in Canada.
I thought it was actually the northern part of Alaska.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think it was called North Peak.
Okay.
North Peak, yep.
It looked like Canada, but...
Same difference.
Yeah.
It's frozen.
He has to go through Canada.
But like I said before, it is that Christopher Nolan kind of vibe where he just doesn't look and feel like an actual Santa Claus, but he has that essence of him being there, like how he'll sit next to somebody and say, hey, how's your wife and your son or something, and people will be like, how do you know that? Yeah, and he's got the beard, he's got a gut on him, he's not obese or anything, but he is Santa Claus, and it's almost like he even says, like, I'm a parody or something. Like, what does he say, the line in the movie?
I forget exactly, but there is that moment between him and Mrs. Claus where he's almost seen like a farce.
Yeah, and he basically is kind of like a whisper down the alley thing where you know who he is, he's talked about, and here you got this real version that's the Mel Gibson version with his wife, Mrs. Claus, but we know him as the big holly jolly guy in the red suit. And he's like, that's not me, though. It's
exactly.
Like, that's just the perception of what I really am.
He even has that line in the movie, you think I got this job because I'm fat and jolly?
Yeah.
Honestly, like, that was the one thing, like, they based it in reality, which did not expect. Like I said, I expected over-the-top violence and stuff like that. Like, so when they, like, started basing it in reality, like, Santa's a real person. And I think the first time we really meet him, he's in the yard shooting at, like,
the trash.
The
He's
trash.
shooting at the trash.
Yeah, like the typical Santa, the holly jolly. Like, it's Mel Gibson, straight up. Like, he looks like Riggs from Lethal Weapon, but, like, really fucking old.
With a giant beard.
And then he's bitching about how they don't have enough money to pay the elves for all the work they did throughout the year. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, really. Jobs are being outsourced. Basically, he's trying to get on the phone, get on the horn, trying to make money and do business with other companies. And they're saying, no, we're going to do our own thing. We're not relying on you to make toys and gifts for people this year. We're going to go our own separate way. And it's taking a toll on him and his wife because they need the money until the government approaches them.
Yeah, they only give him half the money, just half the presents for the U.S., I guess, government? I guess, nation?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, all right, we got an offer for you to get the rest of the money. I'm like, wait, they're going to fucking try to blackmail Santa?
I guess we should probably go into the plot quickly, just like a little brief synopsis. So basically, yes, Mel Gibson plays a very unorthodox Santa Claus who's fighting to save his declining business. Meanwhile, this kid named Billy, who is neglected, and he's 12 years old, and he's a little shit. He hires...
That kid.
Yeah, fuck the kid.
And he's rich.
He's rich, yes, he's a snob. He hires a hitman, Walton Goggins, to basically kill Santa Claus after receiving a lump of coal in his gifts.
Because he fucking deserved it, little prick.
He absolutely did. And Walton Goggins has a history with Santa Claus, where he actually collects the gifts that he's received from other people who want to give him money for it. And he's also received a little cop car, and on the bottom of it, there's a significant plate that says, "From Santa's Workshop." That's how you know it was an actual gift made by Santa Claus and the elves.
And I think that cop car was the only gift he got from Santa.
I think so.
Yeah,
it is, because he says it at the end when he confronts Santa Claus.
Because, like, he was buying up everyone's gift that actually had the plate on the workshop.
Yeah. There's a line at the very end where there's a specific gift that Walton Goggins has always wanted, but Mel Gibson, Kris Kringle, could never give it to him. It's really emotional, actually, too.
And it takes you back.
Yeah.
You're not expecting it. Like you said, when you're seeing the trailer, you're thinking hardcore action, because it's kind of how they marketed it.
That's exactly how it was marketed.
I felt lied to a little bit, but I was glad I was, because the story itself, like, showing that, like, he is a person, and trying to keep everyone safe, and then trying to support, I don't know how many elves, there's a lot of elves. But anyway, and it's just, like, showing that he's a support system for all these people, elves, and he has to figure out a way to, I guess, adapt to the times.
Right. It is satirical. At the same time, it does take itself seriously at times, But like I said, it is very much satirical, especially when it comes to the elves being introduced. You have these moments where the military are looking at the elves, and their daily diet is basically sugar and pies and candy, and they're able to survive longer than humans because of this diet. Even the one, I think the captain basically looks at the head elf, number 7, I think is his name, say, "How can you eat this? Like, don't you want to like have a steak and some vegetables? I mean, my God, put some color into that face." Like, no. This is our diet, and this is how we last longer than human beings. So it's kind of funny when that was brought up.
Well, they had that funny line about those other two guys from the government that come over, and Kris Kringle's in the barn with the reindeer.
Yeah.
And the one bites the dude on the ass, and he goes, "Oh, hey, that's what was it? That's Prancer.
That's Donner.
That's Donner. But be glad it wasn't, Prancer or Blitzen. She'll bite your package right off." Like, yeah. I couldn't pinpoint a genre with this movie, because there was satire and comedy moments, but then there was heartfelt moments. I mean, the stuff with the kid and the hitman and the dumb shit that he was lashing out about, sometimes that just felt so over the top to me. Mm-hmm. Like how he went after that girl who got first place in the science fair or something, and basically put her in a torture chamber. And I was like, what the fuck?
I know.
But then he lets her go. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like, I'll just come back and kill your whole family if you tell him. I'm like, what?
And then, what's Walton Goggins' character's name? But he's Walton Goggins is the hitman.
He's known as Skinny Man, according to IMDb.
Okay.
So he's got like a typical hitman name where he doesn't really have. Actually, his real name is revealed at the very end. His real name is Jonathan.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Santa Claus knows that.
I was just laughing at the fact that in his phone for the kid, Billy, is it?
Billy.
Wow, that's kind of funny. He just has little shit in his phone. Like, for every time he calls him, like, that's actually pretty funny.
That's great.
But I did like the Walton Goggins took the little girl back home, and he said, "Oh, you're gonna be out late. You were shopping for Christmas presents." She goes, "I don't have money for Christmas presents." He goes, "Well, then you were looking for Christmas presents."
Then you were thinking about buying Christmas presents.
And if you don't do this, and if you don't play it cool, I'm gonna kill your whole family. Do you have a dog? Yeah, I have a dog. Oh, I'm gonna kill your dog too. It's like, oh. And he just plays it off like, yeah, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, he does. He definitely has some of the best lines in the movie.
Oh my God,
some of the most dark humor.
My favorite scene is probably one with him. I'll tell you when we get to that part. Fuck it, I'm gonna do it now. It's when he got the job from the kid to go kill Santa Claus, and he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go start from the beginning. So he makes a collect call, and he's talking to the person on the line, and he says, "Hi, I'm looking for an address in the North Pole," and he's doing that rundown, like, do they, is there a building that makes toys, blah, 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 blah.
He doesn't want to flat out say it.
Yeah, he's like just leading the conversation on, and it sounds like everything's going smooth for him, and he's keeping his cool, and then he says, last name's Kringle, first name's Chris, and then you just hear the hang up right away.
And doesn't he say, did you just fucking hang up?
Yeah, he goes, did you fucking hang up on me?
He's got like an image of Santa Claus in his apartment that he likes to box with and just like pretend he's beating the shit out of the real Santa Claus.
And then they cut to him like sparring or something in a karate dojo.
And he breaks the guy's arm.
Yeah, and he's all like, I broke it. And that was the end of that scene. It was just, you just see him sparring with this dude, break his arm, and he's like, oh, I broke his arm. And then that was it. I was like, okay.
Sometimes they're scatterbrained with those kind of shots like that, and then there's one scene where he's actually going through a training exercise, basically pulling a John Wick and like blowing down doors with a shotgun and pulling the pistol out, then the machine gun. He wants to go again. The other guy's like, it's Christmas Eve. I'm tired. I want to be with my family. Am I not paying you? Well, then run it again. It just tells you a lot about his character. Like I said, he belongs like in a Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah, he was the most fun to watch in the whole movie.
But honestly, he may have been the most fun, but I felt his storyline and Billy's storyline were kind of the bullshit storyline. Like, I was more interested in the Mel Gibson part, because I was like, when they're building that up, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, and also it would cut to those two assholes. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Go back to that storyline. And it's like, it was kind of like one of those. I'm like, all right, cool. Oh, hey, there we go. Because like even when they first introduced Santa, isn't he in the bar? And he's like trying to get the paycheck. He's like, oh, I don't know. And then that's when he discovers the bartender is talking to a guy, kind of flirting, and he keeps looking. He's like about to drink this drink, and he kind of looks at the guy. Bartender leaves. And he goes, so how's the wife and kid? He's like really deterring this guy from cheating on his wife. And the guy's like, I wasn't gonna do anything. He goes, well, I'll pay for your beer. Just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. But say whatever you want about Mel Gibson. Believe me, a lot of people have. I have never seen this guy turn in a bad performance, whether it's on the comical side or the more serious side. I mean, the guy played William Wallace. I mean, his excellent character in Ransom. The guy has never really turned in a bad performance, and his performance is pretty damn good in this movie.
Now, with that being said, with how crazy he really is, do you think when he was playing Riggs, was that him playing something, or was that just him being him?
No, I think that was just him.
Yeah.
I mean, the first Lethal Weapon movie where he has the suicide moment on the couch, like, he was so invested in the character. Richard Donner, when he yelled "cut," wanted to give him a hug right away, saying, "Do you need me to console you right now? Because my God, you went to a dark place just now. I feel like what you did was real and not for the sake of a character."
Because it probably was.
I mean, it's a heart-wrenching scene, and it gives his character a lot. I mean, Riggs is a very beloved character in all the action genres, but he basically, in this movie, looks just like his character in Bloodfather, another movie that came out in 2016. Another good movie that also went to DVD, but I thought it was excellent because of his performance and the subject matter. And basically that was kind of him returning to like Mad Max glory in a way. He gets to ride the motorcycle. He gets to gun down some gang members from across the border in Mexico just to protect his daughter. It's a good movie. He looks just like that in this movie, with the iconic beard and everything, and him just going ape shit and yelling.
So you expect his Mel Gibson to just keep fucking yelling? He's like, almost 70, and he's
Overall, he was pretty much normal in this movie.
Yeah, like just a pissed off guy.
Yeah, except for the very end.
Yeah, even then he's still pissed off.
He was even upset when he had to explain to the elves that he had to take that government contract, and he didn't want to do it. And I guess the thought of them making a weapon for the government was also not what he wanted to do, but the desperate times, desperate measures kind of thing.
Even the one elf was like, how many toys are we making? Toys? You're not making toys, sweetie.
Weren't they making like the almost the control panels or motherboards for, I'm guessing, missiles?
Yeah,
that's what
missiles.
I was assuming.
Yeah, they like
really
I don't
think
think talk
they
about
explained what it was.
They just gave us an X and a number, so it's like I was assuming it was some sort of like missile system.
I'm gonna assume because they didn't really go into that in full detail.
Because like the military came in, they like set up this whole like security system, which was fucking useless by the end of the movie. But
yeah, so was the military.
Yeah. But like as like wow, I just lost my train of thought because we're laughing about how shitty they were in this movie. But like the fact that he cared for these elves as much as they did, and the one person that actually stuck out over Mel Gibson was the woman that played his wife. She was the most understanding person in the entire movie because like she was like his rock the whole time.
Oh yeah, she was great.
She did an amazing job. It just, I was like taken back with that. I was like I said, I'm still kind of like on the concept of like I was expecting an action movie, but like they had some really heartfelt moments between Mel Gibson and I cannot remember her name.
Her real name, or Marianne
Jean-Baptiste.
Right.
Mrs. Claus.
Yeah. Mrs. Claus. I've only seen her in like one thing, and that was a few episodes of How to Get Away with Murder on TV. She's mostly a television actress, so I had never really seen her in any feature-length film except this one.
And it was like I was laughing because like even when he had to go to town to get the Santa's letters and stuff like that, she's like, "Oh, you want some cookies?" I'm like, "Yo, these cookies looked amazing."
They did.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like, dude, she kept making cookies. Like she was handing them out to elves, the military. I'm like,
not giving any to her husband. Like, no, you're on a diet. Like, what are you talking about?
She just like would snag a whole bunch of cookies and run off.
There's that really cool scene where when he came back after Christmas night and he was wounded. And he was taking care of it himself, and he told her about it, and she's like, "No, you show me." I got it, and she's like, "No, show me."
Yeah, like that was the first time like I started realizing, this is more based in reality. When he's like, "Oh yeah, 2 kids shot at the reindeer," I'm like, What?
Kids apparently want to kill Santa Claus for giving them coal, I guess.
And then he lifts up his shirt. He's got a bullet wound on his side, and he's like, "Oh, I'll be fine. I cleaned it out. I'll heal like I normally do." I'm like, "Well, that makes sense. He's Santa Claus." So
Yeah.
But and in the later scene, it shows him pulling the boards out of the sleigh, and you see the bullet holes. I'm like, "Fuck, man, that makes it more."
Mm-hmm.
I liked how they didn't show you the whole delivering the toys and stuff, and how he didn't actually change suits. It was like what you saw him in that movie.
He was in like I would say a Canadian tuxedo, so it was a jean shirt and jean pants, and he was wearing a red coat. Like it had like a parka pretty much.
Right.
And that was it. And like at one point he's smoking cigars. I'm like, I could see that.
Definitely see that. But it makes sense because I guess he didn't have a whole lot of locations to travel because he was being outsourced by other places that were providing the gifts. So maybe his traveling list is much shorter than it usually is. So he probably could accomplish everything he wanted to do overnight.
Well, obviously. That's his one job.
This is just his one job. But you think if Santa Claus visited the entire world in just one night, he would probably just commit suicide in the first hour. How can one man be capable of doing this? I know other movies have explored the idea like, well, Santa Claus will go one way and then the elves will go another way. They'll deliver the gifts there. That way he's able to disperse all the presents to everybody, not just him doing all the work. The elves are also involved giving the gifts to people. So, yeah, this is definitely not the Santa Claus you're used to seeing. This is not Tim Allen's Santa Claus. This is not Paul Giamatti from Fred Claus. This is none of that at all. This is a Santa Claus that we've never seen before.
That's what was refreshing about it. I like that it was different. I like that it was something from the perspective of maybe this is really who this guy is, and then from years on down it became a marketing tool, and he brings that up. It's like, Christmas generates trillions of dollars, and here I am providing the work, and I'm struggling to keep the operations going.
Yeah.
He's like, what is wrong with this picture?
Was he like, I should have charged for like copyright so that they at least get something? And she's like, oh, that's not you. Yeah. I'm like, that was like one of the craziest scenes. Like when he's pissed, the fact that he gets half the money, and then all of a sudden the U.S. government shows up before he gets back to the house with the paycheck, and I'm like, wait, so they already knew they fucked him. So
yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, we've got a job for you. I'm like, get the fuck out.
Yeah, Jesus. There was a moment where I think it was the phone conversations he was trying to have with the other people, and when he's doing the grip exercises and he kept breaking it. That's when you realize this is maybe a Santa Claus you don't want to fuck with. If he's constantly breaking these grip exercises and he has to get new ones, and he's boxing with a slow bag and the sand's coming out, maybe you don't want to fuck with this guy.
Oh, when the military was trying to pick up the boxes that broke, and they're like struggling, he walks over like it's nothing. He's like, hold my coffee, and he just like picks it up like one-handed. I'm like, fuck, man.
And they look at him and he just goes, steroids.
And it's like, that was the stuff that made that movie too. It was like the little jokes. It wasn't like in your face. It wasn't like in your face violent. And like, I keep coming back to that. I'm still kind of taken back. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of Tarantino-esque where it tells this story, has this humor that's not so in your face, but it makes you laugh, and then it has the action in it yet. I mean, you can definitely tell it's not a Tarantino movie, but I mean, it's entertaining. I think it has some slow pacing issues, though.
I did think it takes a lot of movie to get through to some of the main story as well as some of the good nitty-gritty pieces of the story. But yeah, it's basically, this is a character study with action moments sprinkled throughout. That's the best way to describe it.
So it makes me wonder if they used the hitman and the kid as more filler instead of putting more of Chris Kingle into it. Because that's what I was saying. I feel like the low parts were with the hitman and the kid, where with Chris you were getting a steady forward motion. Where with that, like you even said, there were some slow parts with that. So I'm wondering if that's what it was. Like they didn't have enough for Chris, so they added more with those two when they should have just been like, well, we could write more for Chris.
Okay.
Which would have made more sense. Like, because there could have been more with the elves. There could have been a little more with even Christmas. They could have shown a little something with it. Showing like how he would do it. I could see just him fucking going down a chimney, just chucking a present at a tree. If they could have shown at least one or two of those, I would have died, called it a day.
There you go.
I think it was the typical protagonist versus antagonist. Yeah. And that's what it was about.
And Walton Goggins, he does have a purpose, especially towards the very end when this does come full circle, because he does have a personal grievance with Santa Claus. And it does come at the very end. So you basically have to... The movie's... It's almost asking you to trust the movie. Yes, this is getting to a point. You just have to be along with the ride. The sleigh ride.
And what's interesting is Kris Kringle doesn't even know it's happening until he's Walton, sorry. Walter. He shows up at the North Pole, or command base, whatever you call it. And I was like, oh.
You really get the idea that he had to travel a lot just to get up to this location. I mean, there's a lot of like really funny montage sequences of him just driving, living in his car, pissing in a water bottle.
I like when he makes the stop at Canada. And he says, I'm here to hunt and kill something. And he's talking about all the guns he has. And he's just handing all the...
like all the forms.
Yeah.
Like, so he can carry the guns through.
Mm-hmm. So he can hunt up there. So he can shoot the weapons up there. He's
Took
bringing
his whole arsenal.
He's bringing a John Wick type arsenal just to go after Santa Claus.
And you can see it on his face. He's like, I don't know if this is going to work. And then the lady's like, all right, welcome to Canada.
Yeah. But like the whole time, like he has this gerbil hamster with him.
Yeah.
That provided one of the funnier moments when he goes to the pet store for his hamster. The woman, she says that she can read people, and she knows just based off of the look that they give and their personality what type of animal suits them. So she thinks he's more of a reptile and snake kind of guy. But he keeps saying, you remind me of my mother. She never knew when to shut the fuck up. So sell me what I want for my hamster, because snakes eat hamsters, and I like my hamster. So stop pissing me off.
And she just backed up like,
Yeah. Tells you about his character. Like, maybe he's not this type of like cold-blooded animal that he kind of is getting off at, because reptiles are cold-blooded. You know, so.
I think that was the point, though. Like he's a very slimy person, so.
He didn't want to cut the beard off of a dead man because
that was hilarious.
Billy wanted a trophy when Walton Goggins' characters eventually kills Santa Claus. He wanted a trophy. He wanted his head. No, the head will decompose. It's going to be rotting in your house. You don't want that shit.
Getting it past the borderlines is going to be a pain. I don't feel like dealing with that.
That was really funny.
And he's all nonchalant about it, just like, no, you don't want to do it because of this and because of that.
Kid, you're 12 years old. I know my shit.
How about a pair of jingle bells? Nah, I don't want that. How about his coat? Oh, all right.
Like, even with the kid, you come to find out, like, he's pretty much forging his grandmother's name to pay this guy on checks.
Yep.
And then he's like drugging her to sleep,
robbing her blind.
Yeah.
Being really shitty to the housekeepers.
Did the one get fired? Because like it all of a sudden switched from.
I'm going to assume she got fired. Yes, because of him.
Fucking piece of shit.
I know. I would love it if he opened all of his presents and they were all coal, because he just opens one present and it's just one little tiny bit of coal. But I would have loved if all of the gifts were full of coal. Can you just imagine that? Because there's that one scene in the trailer where he holds the coal up into the sky and just yells, "You just messed up big time, Fatman!" That's when I realized, when I saw that moment in the trailer, maybe this is going to be amazing.
Dude, that was, like I said, that kid's a piece of shit. I mean, like, I wish that he would have got more of a punishment than what he did. It's like almost a stern talking to, like, by the way. Like,
it was kind of badass, though, what Kris Kringle does to him, though.
Did you say punish?
Punish!
I was expecting more of a punish moment, but not like a father talking to his kid, like, you done fucked up.
Well, it's actually more impactful than you think, because Kris Kringle's there.
Yeah, I get a point. Like, Mrs. Claus walks in, opens the door, he comes in all fucked up looking, and sits down in front of him, and like kind of has this stern like conversation with him, and I'm like, wow, dude, it's like, it was, I guess, like, because of his dad being absent, and that's what that kid really needed, was a father figure to pretty much put him in his place. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's getting away with whatever he wants because there's no one there to tell him what to do. there's a feeble old grandmother who he's robbing blind to pay off Walton Goggins. So
literally robbing her blind.
yes.
Doesn't he catch her talking shit about him too, saying like, "I hate this kid, I want him out of my house"? And
no, I think that's when she's
like,
talking on the bank and they're finding out about the checks, and I think she's starting to figure out it is the kid.
Oh, okay.
Because she's like, "You find out who the fuck is doing this? You give me copies of the check. Find out who's cashing them."
Yeah. Yeah. But and I know we definitely jumped a little bit ahead, but there's the big action scene towards the very end when Walton Goggins eventually figures out where Kris Kringle is. He has to do a lot of his own digging, and it's kind of funny how he finds out that the best way to get to Santa Claus is through a cartoon image of him reading a letter, thinking, I gotta go to the post office. I gotta interrogate the right person at the post office, and that's how I might get an address.
Yeah, at that point, like, when you see that, and then he goes to the first postman he sees, and he's, like, talking to the guy. He goes, all right, well, I have to go to here. He ends up shooting the guy. I'm like, what the fuck?
There's a lot of off-screen kills. I kind of wish that maybe they showed it, but that's maybe not the film that they were going for, so that's why they probably did it off camera. And the movie is only about an hour 40. It's not 2 hours long. It's relatively short. It does feel like it does drag a bit, where you have to get through so much movie to get to some of the nitty-gritty parts, and he gets basically he steals his uniform. And that's how he kind of gets in.
Which is covered in blood. He's like trying to cover it with his coat. Like, fuck, man, I think...
He gets to eventually gets to the post office, and Kris Kringle has a post office box.
Yeah. And, like, he goes to the postmaster. He's trying to figure out where Kris Kringle's at. And he's threatening him with a gun. He's, like, up against his head on the table. He's like, write it down. He goes, I'm what do you say, I'm right-handed? And he's like, grab the pen, it's to your right.
No, new page, do not write off of a page that already has writing on it. It's very specific, and that's what he does too when he's writing notes in his little journal. Everything has to have its own separate page. Tells you a little bit about his character and how he's got to be clean. He wants to have things basically start anew. A new page in a book.
And then after that, after the guy writes down the P.O. box, he goes, this is it? Like, oh, fuck, this is all I had to do.
He drives an old red Ford. Santa Claus drives an old red Ford.
I thought that was a nice touch, actually.
It was. It really was.
He has the old Ford. It's red. It's like bright red. So
this is like 1960s Ford.
Yeah.
I was going to say, doesn't it have a tape player in it?
I think so.
It does.
I thought I noticed that, and I was like, whoa.
So when Walton, whatever. I'm just going to call him the fucking hitman at this point.
Just the hitman.
I'm butchering people's names lately. So when the hitman finally gets this, he goes to the post office in, North Peak.
North Peak, yep.
And he's talking to the postmaster there, and he's talking about how he's a friend of Chris's, and then kind of just like creepily hangs out. And then he sees the red truck pull up, and he's like ready to shoot him. And all of a sudden, just truck pulls out in front of it, and you're like, fuck, man. Even the postmaster, when Chris goes inside, is like, hey, there's a guy you're looking for. He goes, kind of in a suit, like, really has his head up his ass type
Not
thing.
from around here. Clearly not from around here, because we're a population of, 500 people?
Yeah. And so then he ends up actually just following Santa back to base. And it was kind of crazy. Like, that was it. And, like, Santa didn't give a shit. He's like, whatever.
He realizes, oh my god, this is like a military compound. How protected is this guy?
Because at this whole time, they're building those parts for the military.
Yeah,
Up to that point, there was, like, no security almost. Like, it was just the elves and them.
And Santa Claus.
Yeah.
He was their only line of defense before the military started showing up in trucks and bodies. And that's kind of what they're there for, almost.
Just
They're almost to be
bodies.
bodies for Walton Goggins to kill.
And that's when I said it. Like, when I said they were useless. Like, there's two guys talking about going home and, like, having some time off, and they get shot. And he gets in the base. He sees, like, the guys driving the snowmobiles around. He's going through. He kills them, too. Like, it is not, like, really nonchalantly killing all these guys. Like, oh, hey, boom. All right, cool. Anyway.
Yeah. Here's the factory. This is where the magic happens. And he starts planting bombs. One of my favorite moments is when one of the elves, they have numbers. This one elf picks up the bomb. He's like, you really don't want to... You don't know what you're doing, man. The elf disassembles the bomb like it's a fucking toy.
Yeah.
Dude, straight face, too. That is probably, like, one of the funniest moments, because he's just like, boom, 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 and drops it. And I'm like,
and then he pulls the gun out, and then the elves are surprisingly agile. I mean, maybe not surprisingly because they're hopped up on sugar. So they're shooting, and he's taking out the military like they're nothing.
And that's when you saw the foreman Seven kind of like taking control of the situation, and be like, hey, you guys get out, go get in the lockdown. He gets a hold of Chris, and it was just cool because like he's putting his life on the line to save everybody else, and then the general, the colonel, is trying to help save the elves too because he's the only fucker left.
Yeah,
because they are just bodies at this moment. He took them all out, and Seven and the colonel are trying to get the elves to safety and get a hold of Chris. And Chris came back and had his moment with his Mrs. Claus, which was kind of cool, but...
They made it seem like it was longer than a moment.
Yeah, I'm just saying that because I don't need to go into nitty-gritty about that. I think that's the first time we actually get to see Santa without a shirt. And
you see all the battle scars on his body, the people that try to kill Santa Claus before.
It was kind of like one of those like foreshadowing moments, like when everything comes to fruition, and then Seven gets a hold of him on... It's not like a cool little intercom. It's like an old school radio, and they just hit a button to talk. And all of a sudden you can see Santa's all pissed that Seven's fucking interrupting this nice moment they're having.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, man.
All right, get the guns from out of the bed. And even Mrs. Claus, she's already like one step ahead. She's already assembling, loading the guns, getting ready for him to go out to go battle. Like, yes, okay, this is a serious situation. We've prepared for this in the event that someone finds out our location.
The crazy thing is he pulls out a normal, like a pistol, and then I think it was a musket. It was the other gun.
Something like that. I thought it was like a sawed-off shotgun at one point. Or
I was like, look at, I think he only uses the one shot, and I'm like, did he just use a musket?
He might have. It's the old technology versus the new technology. Yeah. I think there's a moment when Walton Goggins, when he gets out of the factory because he's ready to blow it up, I think one of the elves jumps on his back and stabs him.
Yeah.
But there's some missing information where I feel like it just feels like there were certain scenes that maybe were shot and weren't shot, because then it just cuts to them being gone. Because did he kill the elves? Did they get away? I'm not sure what happened.
I think when they had, like, there was 3 elves that didn't go in the bunker, and I think 7 was still in, and there was just happened to be like 3 or 4 that just attack him. And then when he blows it up, I think it's like they're either dead or knocked out, and then that's when it goes straight into the fight between the hitman and Santa.
Yeah.
So I'm like you said, there might have been a piece that we missed, or it literally is just missing.
It's possible. And then we get the Western standoff between the Fatman and the hitman. And you've seen the moment in the trailer, if you've seen it, where he just yells, "I've come for your head, Fatman!"
And then that's when you find out about the hitman's kind of like fucked up past, and like he was abused as a kid, and he just became a shitty person because of it.
Yeah, and his body's covered in cigarette burns. So even Santa Claus and the hitman, they've got their scars, their burn marks, their battle wounds, if you will, or their abuse. Because the one thing that Walton Goggins wanted for Christmas were new parents, and Santa Claus could not give that to him, which is kind of how he lost his faith in Santa Claus, because he did get that cop car toy from him because it was made in Santa's workshop. And that's why he basically starts ignoring the little shit's calls, like, "I'm not talking to you right now. This is personal. You paid me, I get that, but I'm not talking to you right now because this is bigger than the money you've paid me. This is personal."
Finally getting that revenge that he wanted for so many years, and then you actually seeing the person in front of you.
Yeah. I love Santa Claus's reaction. "You think you're the first to try to kill me?"
That was really cool. It wasn't a, "Oh, yeah." It wasn't one of the, it was kind of nonchalant, just like, "Yo, here I am. I'm going to talk to you and tell you."
Turn into like Danny Glover for a little bit. "Danny boy."
Danny, I'm too old for this shit. He probably had that moment too, like when he walks outside and he's sitting there, because all he is wearing a fucking red beanie and I think a flannel. It's not even a fucking coat. It's like 20 below, and they're like, "Fuck it, I'm Santa Claus."
Well, he does say at one point in the movie, "Maybe I should retire."
Yeah.
So maybe that was his Murtom.
"I'm too old for this shit."
Even when he's talking to him, he kind of like has the guns, but they're kind of pointed out, like, "Come and get me, motherfucker."
Yeah.
And that's when that whole conversation's happening, and it's just like, but the hitman has like an automatic, And he's got one pistol and a fucking, pretty much a musket. I'm just going to say that.
We're going to call it a musket.
And I was like, there's no way that Santa's going to survive this, all right?
And then they engage in the shootout, which is actually really entertaining. That's one thing I will give the, what are their names again? The Esham brothers, the Nelms brothers, sorry, that they did craft some really good cinematography for the action scenes. There's no multiple quick cutting. There's no shaky cam. It's all in camera, and there's some good wides. That's what I love about it. The action is helmed very well because I cannot stand shaky cam. I cannot stand multiple quick cuts like we've seen in Olivier Megaton's terrible Taken sequels. I mean, those are terrible action scenes. If you've seen those movies, I'm sorry, but you know what I'm talking about. Everything is in camera, and everything looks great.
Or how they change the shutter speed and they make it look all fast and stuff.
Yeah, and no slow motion, too. I didn't think there was any slow motion, too, which I also was very refreshed to see.
When you got, 10 rounds in his one gun and one in the other, he unloads, 3 or 4 magazines before he actually hits Santa? And Santa, I think, hits him in the shoulder once. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, I can see who's the better shot, first off.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole time that dude just wipes out a military platoon. And he can't hit the old
fat man. The old fat man with a musket.
That's like when Santa gets shot once, Mrs. Claus comes out and starts shooting at the hitman too. So I was like, yo, she's out there protecting him.
Mm-hmm. But there is a moment that happens during this action scene where I audibly screamed, "What?" And I shouted, "No."
Wait, before we get to that, we actually get one of the coolest sequences that happens during the shootout when, Santa ends up running out of ammo. He throws his gun to distract him, so he ducks. Santa runs up to the woodpile that the hitman's on the other side. So they're showing it from, I guess, the long way, so you can see both of them on either side.
There's 2 separate wood piles.
Yeah, and it's like a V. Santa's on one side kind of moving forward, and he's sneaking around. He's holding a piece of wood. The hitman's coming the other way, and all of a sudden you hear Santa step on some snow. And that's when he goes, oh, fuck, he's right here. Santa clocks this motherfucker with a piece of wood in the head. And I'm like, I thought that was the end of it. That leads up to this oh, fuck moment that they start fighting because he's going to shoot him with another gun. And I'm like, holy fuck, what's going to happen? All of a sudden, he's fighting Santa, and this blade shoots out of his, thigh? Knee or whatever?
Think of it as an enlarged shoe knife. And if you know what a shoe knife is, you just, step on your foot, and then a knife comes out.
And it goes right through his back and comes out his chest. I'm like, holy fuck, he just killed Santa.
I audibly yelled out, what?
But then it was like, that's not the oh fuck moment that I was thinking of. It's when, this is the biggest spoiler, he gets up and he's finally standing over top of Santa and he shoots him in the fucking face. And that's when Mrs. Claus starts shooting at him just to protect Santa. I think she gets shot once. And
she does get shot.
They go in the house.
I'm sorry, that was funny. When she got shot, she just rounded.
Yeah.
Just like, boom, but she didn't miss a beat.
Yeah,
it
dude,
was just like,
I think it's like that.
She's tough.
Yeah. It's the fight or flight moment. Like, she knew she had to get to somewhere she could protect herself. Mm-hmm. And, that was, after those 2 moments when they got shot and that was it, I was like, fuck, did they just kill them? And I just got mad.
I got really mad when Santa got shot in the face, specifically through the eye. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. He ain't surviving that. I thought it was a miracle that he didn't die right away from the spear through the chest.
And I shot him in the eye.
I was kind of pissed for the next 5 or 10 minutes in this movie. Like, you gotta be kidding me. This fucking sucks, man.
I actually liked it because I'm like, so if he dies, who's gonna take over? I was thinking, not that I wanted him to die, but I'm thinking, whoa, okay, we got an ending here.
Actually, I was more worried about Mrs. Claus. I'm like, fuck, I go, Santa Claus, he heals, I remember them saying, he heals faster. I'm like, maybe he survived this. I'm like, I don't know about the old lady. Fuck, man, I was like, she's going to stab him with a fucking cookie knife.
But she played him well with the blood leading into the one room, and then she closes the door and just fucking shoots Walton Goggins.
It was awesome.
It was great.
If you didn't love Mrs. Claus throughout the whole movie, you loved her then.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said,
awesome.
She was probably the standout performance for the entire movie because she was the rock that everyone needed. And then, like, she finishes it off. I'm like, holy fuck, man. Like, mind blown.
Yes.
I really like that.
Very different, and I thought it was brilliant how it was handled with her character. I think her name is Ruth. She's known as Ruth in IMDb, but we just call her Mrs. Claus.
Yeah. Because they actually give them real names. It's not Santa and Mrs. Claus. It's Kris Kringle and Ruth Kringle. I said Ruth
Kringle.
But and that was, like, the nice thing. And that's when we lead up to the end where we get that stern talking to. We come to find out.
Well, before that, I see Mrs. Claus consoling her dead husband, and you see the elves are distraught, thinking, oh my god, this guy actually did kill our fearless leader. And then when he starts gripping the snow, that's the moment where I said, holy shit, he really is Santa Claus. Holy shit, this guy is tougher than we gave him credit for. He could survive a gunshot to the eye. Well, that's how magical and tough this man is.
We also forgot something.
What did we forget?
When we were talking about the elves and how they have the sugar diet, and the colonel was saying, well, is that how Chris still survives? And they said, no, he actually lives longer because of how much he gives back to everybody.
Ah, this is true.
I forgot about that. Because that would make sense, because, like, how much he gives compared to everybody else. Yeah.
That's why Mrs. Claus was saying things about, like, oh, this isn't you when you're thinking of retiring, and now you trying to make so much money, and, you know, I understand his frustrations, because, I mean, anybody who, like, helps everybody out feels that way when they don't get anything back.
Yeah.
But then, you know, deep down, it's like, yeah, what's it going to do? It's just help me out for this time, and who's to say it's not going to happen again next year or in 2 years or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, sometimes you just get that run down that ultimately you feel like you're just being overworked. You're feeling helpless almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this movie definitely challenges you to pay attention very closely to the screenplay, because those lines have a lot of meaning. And I think that's why it definitely warrants another viewing. Or maybe if you want to make this a Christmas tradition every year, by all means, knock yourself out.
But here's the real question. After all is said and done, we'll finish this up. So, they show up at the house, and you don't see who it is at first. Like, you saw the hand grip the snow. You don't even see who it is, and you just see the maid just let him in. Like, here, come in. Like, she knows them. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, it's the kid's in his room screaming about "Don't bother me." And then I think it's where we find out the whole conversation about the grandmother finding about the checks, and he's like trying to drug her again.
Poisoning her, if you want to call it that, yeah. In the milk.
Then Mrs. Claus walks in and then opens the door for Santa, and you see this like bloody eye patch over his eye. I'm like, fuck.
Dude, I almost lost it thinking that was brilliant. Santa Claus with an eye patch, and he's all bloodied and disheveled. And the fact that he drinks the milk, knowing what's in the milk, and nothing fazed him. And the kid is just shell-shocked about what he's... I think, I don't want to say cyanide or ricin or anything like that, or any kind of poison, but he knew what it was when he chugged the whole glass of milk.
It was some pills.
Yeah. I thought it was just the pills to, like, knock her out. Or was he actually trying to kill her?
He might have been trying to overdose her, so make it look like an accident.
Okay.
Yeah, he definitely wanted her dead.
And that's when you get to start talking to, pretty much saying that, like, if anything happens to the grandmother, the girl that he threatened, anything, if he does anything bad, Santa's coming back for him. I'm like, fuck, man, I just saw you do all this shit. Yeah, awesome. I can see that happen.
The fat man had his eye on him.
I like how he said to the kid that I kind of blame myself for some of this because I just give you a lump of coal. But he said maybe I need to be a little more proactive.
Yeah.
I think that's the word he used, was proactive. And that's when he just gave him the stern talking to. He's like, listen, you little shit.
And he's actually wearing the Santa coat, and I forget what kind of hat it is. It's like a red, like, flap hat, like a hunter's hat, pretty much.
Yes, it is.
And it's like, it is like a cooler version of the Santa hat. And it was kind of cool, like, him doing that, and then all of a sudden it cuts to them now fixing the workshop. And Santa has this nice new leather red eye patch, and they're like, we're going to make it better. And then next year, blah, blah. I'm like, yo, so they know, like, they're just going to stay here and continue moving forward. It's not going to be like, yeah, the issue's cleared up with the hitman because he's fucking dead. Everyone's fucking dead. But it was kind of a nice ending, like, seeing them rebuild the workshop, seeing Santa's okay-ish.
Alive.
I want to say that maybe, like, given time, he'll heal fully.
Oh, the eye will grow back.
Yeah.
Will his eye grow back, or will he just have a permanent empty socket?
I mean,
there?
he does have scars, but it makes me wonder, like, maybe there is a slow healing process for him that something will. I don't know. Maybe it won't.
I don't know. Red eye patch Santa's like kind of cooler than oh no, it grew back. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, fuck that, man. He just.
I mean, he did survive a gunshot blast to the head through the eye, so.
Did it actually go through? Because like if you watch, his head does turn just enough, like he knows it's coming. So maybe it caught and went through the side of the head instead of through the back.
Either way, he was supposed to be dead. He
Was
got
he, though?
stabbed.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking more of the gunshot rather than the stab.
Right
I'm like, it's
through the
Santa.
chest.
Well, either way,
Definitely hit some vital organs there.
all
but...
I'm saying is something inside him healed.
It's fucking Santa, all right?
Yeah.
Now, would you guys put this on par with being a Christmas movie as Die Hard is a Christmas movie, or would you just say this is a typical Christmas movie?
I don't think this is a typical Christmas movie. I really don't.
It's definitely not a typical Christmas movie. I mean, it's different all across the board. It's a lot.
I've seen some pretty terrible Hallmark Christmas movies in my life, and those things are made for pennies, and they're constantly cheesy. This is nothing at all cheesy.
I wouldn't even say it's on par with Die Hard because
Die
Die Hard's
Hard's
Die
fucking
Hard.
Die Hard was excellent, and it had time on its side, especially since a lot of action movies tried to copy the formula of Die Hard. That's what made it so successful, and that's what makes it a Christmas movie. Yes, for the love of fuck, it's a Christmas movie. Oh my god.
Plus, it has Bruce
Fucking
fucking Willis.
Now, so what you're saying is, if Bruce Willis played Santa Claus...
Yo, Die Hard 5.
There's already a Die Hard 5. It sucked.
Oh, wait.
We're just going to piggyback off that one.
Yeah,
Like,
let's
all the other
reboot
reboots.
5.
Yeah.
Let's reboot 5.
Just go straight to 6 and call it 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Friday the 13th. Yeah, 4 to 6.
Don't bring that one up.
Listen, I almost died last time somebody brought that up.
I swear, upon anything that is holy unholy, I fucking hate 5. I will fucking fight somebody if they tell me they like this movie. I'm looking at you, John, because I have a feeling you're going to say you like it.
I didn't like it. It's my least favorite of all of them.
I can see that look on your goddamn face.
Goddamn smirk.
I will
Oh.
fucking fight you right now. That was Jeff who said all that, by the way.
Yeah, that is a normal conversation now. Like, I've almost fought like 8-year-olds saying that 5 was a fucking good movie, alright?
And that's when you just sit back and grab the popcorn and go, watch the master at work.
Oh.
Yeah. But like I said, definitely not your typical Christmas movie. And I gotta say, I'll probably watch this next year. I might make it a tradition. I'm not really sure, but it definitely does benefit from a second viewing. I do think that it is slow in its pacing. It does take a little bit of time to get to some parts. A lot of scenes felt like they were missing information, where I felt like if they had maybe more time to tie in the scenes together, sometimes they just felt like it was just jump cutting from one thing to totally something different. And I felt that there could have been a better flow. So some issues, but overall, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was entertaining.
Yeah, I thought the movie was very entertaining as well. Like I said, I thought it was slow in pacing as well. Everything was shot well. The sound was good. I don't think there was really any music besides some Christmas songs in it here and there.
I think it would have benefited more if it did have some like more music to it.
Yeah.
Even if they did like several instrumental like Christmas themes throughout it. Mm-hmm. Even if they did a little heavier during that gunfight, it probably would have been beneficial. But as a whole, like I think that was the one thing that was missing was a soundtrack, a score, or something to give it a little more of a overall feel.
Yeah, because music adds a lot of depth and it's basically another character.
Yeah.
Maybe they did try something and it just didn't work.
I feel like here's a missed opportunity. Him listening to Christmas death metal while boxing with the slow bag.
Didn't we do that last time we were here?
Overall, I'd say to people, yeah, check it out. I mean, I don't feel like it's anything that I'd have to buy on Blu-ray or 4K, but if it's on again, I'd watch it.
Yeah, it's worth the rent.
Because I know what it is now. I mean, before it was like, okay, this looks different. It's something, and I respect it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like there's probably something that could have been more with it. If they do happen to do another one, I'm curious to see where it goes.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of like, why would they?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if they do another one, it'd be like a Santa sleigh moment. So
Yeah. I guess the best way is go into this movie not based off of the trailer that you saw. So don't expect a shoot 'em up action movie on Christmas Day or over the progression of a few days around the Christmas holiday season. Go into it expecting a character study with some very unconventional approaches to the Santa Claus mythos. Yeah.
But it worked. Like I said, I viewed it as a Christopher Nolan, like when he said if Batman was in reality, this is what it would look like. I felt like if Santa Claus was in reality, this is probably what it would be.
Mm-hmm.
And what we perceive him was just a whisper down the alley sort of thing, and then it became this marketing tool as we all know him today. And
yeah.
I was like, okay, and I thought Mel Gibson pulled it off. I thought everybody pulled it off. There really wasn't one bad performance in the movie.
No, everyone was solid. Favorite scene?
I told mine.
You told yours.
You fucking hang up on me.
yeah, I have to admit that probably was like one of the funniest moments too. Because like you're not expecting it and you know it's coming, but it's like he's just trying to like stay level headed and he's like loses his fucking shit then.
And it's Walton Goggins. I mean, everything I see that guy in, he just kills it. He's awesome. Like one of the biggest movies that took me back from him was The Hateful Eight, because he was actually a good guy. But he did that so well, too. I was like, what can he do?
Yeah.
Honestly, the one thing I always remember him from is Sons of Anarchy. He played a character named Venus. And that catches me off guard every time because I'm like, oh my god, it's him?
Yeah.
But he did an amazing job.
He was the character alongside Timothy Olyphant in Justified in FX. That was one show that he's definitely known for.
I felt that show kind of should have ended earlier than it did.
It probably should. It
was a rinse and repeat after a while.
Would it go like 8 seasons or something? Something ridiculous. Very, very long show. But I liked his performance in Django Unchained too. Another film.
Oh yeah, he was good. Yeah, he was good in Django. He was in Predators.
He was in Predators. He was the most dangerous man.
I know. And when he fought the Predators like face on, he was all like, "Oh, fuck your face on."
With a knife, kept stabbing him. And then he tells the Predator, like blood coming out of his mouth, "What are you waiting for?" And then he gets the spine ripped out. That was great.
What's your favorite scene?
My favorite scene definitely is right before the stabbing and the shooting in the eye of Santa Claus. Just that Western standoff between them, because you've got character development, you've got great cinematography, you've got the snow-covered fields, and then you've got the shoot-'em-up scene. Well, that was really, really cool, really suspenseful, and was well staged and set up. And like you said, Santa Claus knocking him down with that fucking piece of lumber from that stack of lumber.
Like I said, that was like the one thing that stuck out, because like I'm like, how is he gonna even like fight now that the gun's empty? They proved me wrong.
It's Walton Goggins versus a fucking grizzly bear. And that grizzly bear's name is Kris Kringle, played by Mel Gibson.
So essentially, it's the scene from The Revenant when the bear attacks Leonardo.
Yeah!
If anything, I'd probably say that there was a little bit of an I mean, I'm happy with the fight between Kris Kringle and the Hitman, but I kind of thought with him saying, "You think you're the only one who came after me," that he would be a little more prepared to fight the guy.
He's fucking Santa, man. He didn't give a fuck. What did they say? He was like over 300 years old that they know of?
He has to be.
I just thought there would have been a little more, like he might have knew a little bit of karate. I don't know.
Dude, he's strong. Like, straight up, he could probably rip his fucking spine out and call it a day. Like, all right, well.
But he didn't.
Because he's Santa Claus.
But I didn't
But he could have.
But I didn't get that vibe from him either. That's where I thought it kind of,
Beating up the slow bag and
But
then
still, it
breaking
was
the
fun.
grip exercise. Oh, yeah. Least favorite scene.
I didn't even get mine, you prick. You know what? You're going to get fucking cold this year.
I was just going to say that.
Good. I deserve it.
Honestly, I'm going to have to say I have two favorite scenes, because it was hard to choose just one.
Ooh.
Because it's actually towards the beginning of the movie when you first get introduced to Santa Claus, and he's shooting the trash of the typical Santa Claus. And you can see he's pissed about it. And then that's when you discover about the whole money issues. It's that moment he has with Ruth when they're talking about everything right there. I'm like, yo, this is set the whole tone for the whole movie. But the second scene that stuck out the most was him at the bar after he got the check, and then the bartender and the guy. And you'd see he's still the same person. He's still dealing with the bullshit that he has, but yet he's still Santa Claus, so he has to prove this asshole better not fuck up or. But it's those two scenes stuck out because that was your character development, and they're still moving forward with that.
Nice.
Go prick.
I knew you were going to throw one thing in there. Missed opportunity. You should have called me a little shit.
Give it time. Actually, I think you're taller than me, so I'd be the little shit this small.
So big shit.
Yeah.
Least favorite scene?
I don't really have one. There wasn't anything that stuck out to me that made me go, so... yeah, I'm good. The only thing I can really complain about is the pacing. It didn't really... It's not a standout movie by any means. Like I said, I don't feel like I have to see it again or rush out and buy the Blu-ray and nothing like that. But it's definitely worth another watch. Mm-hmm. I mean, I still think it was fun. It was interesting. Man. But other than that, I think it just wasn't... It's not like an A-list classic or nothing.
No.
Because I don't think Mel Gibson is A-list anymore. He might be a B-lister.
That doesn't mean he can't be.
I know, but I'm not saying it's anything against him. It's because of I think of the age and all his outside of movie issues. They're not gonna push him forward as much as they would. So how even Bruce Willis is not really an A-lister anymore. He's still a big name, but he's doing a lot of straight-to-video movies because he's still an action hero.
I think some of their outspoken politics on things don't fly with the Hollywood art. So that plays it.
Because I took notice that a lot of Mel Gibson's movies, a lot of Bruce Willis movies are now more straight to streaming or DVD because they're not the big names they used to be, but they still are big names.
Yeah. Oh, they still have a fan base.
Yeah,
they do.
And honestly, as you can see, we are still fans of those two. Mm-hmm. But we don't want to get involved with their outside politics.
I would like to see Mel Gibson direct more movies because he had a huge hit with Hacksaw Ridge in 2016, which I thought was him coming to the fold again as a director, having a solid cast, and making one of the best war films in recent memory. I think that is right next to Dunkirk in those two movies of the past decade.
Was Hacksaw Ridge nominated for an Oscar?
It won actually a few technical awards though.
Oh, okay.
But Andrew Garfield was nominated for best performance.
I remember that.
The movie also had Sam Worthington, Hugo Weaving, Vince Vaughn as a drill instructor.
Nobody cares about Vince Vaughn.
What do you mean no one cares about Vince Vaughn? Check him out in Freaky. I thought it was a pretty solid movie.
One movie doesn't make up for a shitty career. I say that every single time.
It's not a completely shitty career. Everyone has done their fair share of movies they're not proud of.
He should not be proud of any movie. Come on. After he did the remake of Psycho, and then did those fucking shitty Wedding Crashers, and all those shitty movies, that doesn't mean I'm going to push him up to the top.
I put more blame on Gus Van Sant for making Psycho the way he did, because that was a shot-for-shot remake. I don't think he had any control over the script or what the director was trying to go for. He was just Vince Vaughn being Norman Bates. But anyway, enough of that, though. Getting off topic a little bit. But my least favorite scene probably is the interrogation with the little girl who actually did win the science fair, and the fact that the little shit in Walton Goggins are tormenting her. That I wasn't really happy with that. I don't know. I felt like I could have done without that, or maybe there was some other way to do it. I don't know. He tried to do an electric shock treatment sort of torture method on her, or threaten her. God damn it, I really don't like this kid. That was the point of the scene, though. But if I had to pick one that I didn't care for so much, it was probably that interaction.
I would just say Billy in general. That little prick pissed me off. Fuck, I wanted to punch him in the throat twice.
Yeah, not enough bad shit happened to him.
He got out easy.
You got a talking to. A stern talking to.
I believe the word is threaten.
I wouldn't say threaten. I would say promise.
He has time to change his ways.
That's the sequel.
What?
It should be an older version of Billy, and he hasn't learned.
Isn't that what Silent Night, Deadly Night is?
Yeah, if you want to see a solid movie involving Santa Claus with a gun that's not Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, then yeah, I would check this one out. a guy who maybe has said ho 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 in his life and not garbage day. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I don't have really, at least, like you said, some pacing issues, some slow parts, so, like, that's about it. Like, honestly, it's a decent movie. I wouldn't say it's 100% solid, but I told a couple people already to watch it because it's ridiculous. Like I said, it was ridiculous. I was not expecting. Like I said, it was not what I expected. Like that was the main thing that like gave me a pull. When I said it was like more story driven rather than violence driven. I still want to see someone get impaled by a fucking reindeer at this point, and I'm like upset that there was no crazy shootout.
Just put on the Linnea Quigley scene in Silent Night, Deadly Night.
But that one's a dead one. I want to see a live one just like run in there fucking full bore.
Like Triceratops. Bam!
Yeah. That's what I was expecting. Nah, it was kind of a letdown.
That could be in the sequel. That I could definitely see.
I'm not saying I want to see him bite somebody's junk off, but I still want to see some impaling by antlers.
Having Blitzen bite off someone's package.
Yeah, the kid brings an army of people up. It's like even the elves are all locked and loaded.
Then it would be the night the reindeer cried.
Yeah. Or that Family Guy episode where they accidentally killed Santa.
Oh, that's American Dad.
Oh, that's it, yeah.
Yo, the fact that Santa lights a cigar off of Rudolph's nose, that's, yo.
The dude takes that golden helmet that the polar bear wears from that, was it the
the golden compass or something? Yeah.
And he jams it up Santa's ass and then he retreats and he goes, I guess I'm on Santa's naughty list and he won't be able to drop me off presents this year. And you hear, you're damn right it does. I'm glad Christmas can be a little more fun now and come up with some creative stories instead of all like the Hallmark Channel type movies.
Because in the end, Santa is still a person.
Yeah.
And that's what this showed. And that was kind of a nice, like you said, a refresher. Because like we all see him as this mythical creature. I'd say creature because that's essentially what he is.
Yeah, he is.
And like if you think about it, like if the whole him being a mythical creature and Krampus being a mythical creature is like, yeah, cool. Once you actually make it a reality-based thing and make Santa into a person is when you're like, oh fuck, never even thought about it like that. Because I'm not saying like Arnold should be fucking Santa next. I mean, not happening. But
give it time, it might happen.
Is it gonna be punny like Batman and Ron?
Just wait and see.
But yeah, like I said, nice refresher, nice thing.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else have anything to add to our Fatman discussion?
I think even that, the title itself, Fatman, will definitely throw a lot of people off because you're under the belief that you're about to watch some guy fat and jolly. No, he's gruff and chiseled and war-scarred like a fucking grizzly bear.
I think he has like a really big upper body, so he like went to the gym just for the arms, but did nothing about like what Chris Jericho looks at right now.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm probably gonna get beat up for that.
You might. You're not seeing a fat man. You're like I said, expectations. Are you expecting to see a fat, jolly Santa Claus? No, you're not going to get that. You're going to see a fucking grizzly bear who has a beef with the violence of society's youth in this day and age. That's why they're shooting at them. That's why there's a little shit who hires a hitman to kill him. I mean, yeah. So.
All right. Well,
yeah.
I guess that wraps things up.
Pretty much so.
Okay.
And we look forward to more Christmas movies along the way because we've got an arsenal planned, don't we?
You know, we have one for 100% because, you know, we got to. Past that, like, well, there's a lot of discussion on different Christmas movies, so we'll have to see how this plays out. I'm kind of curious.
Mm-hmm. We'll just wait and see.
So, with that being said, I guess we'll sign off. This is Colin Peters.
John Rochetter.
You know what? Fuck you. Eat a dick. How about that? Fucking prick.
Fat man's got his eye on you.
Stay safe.
You can't even finish it.
You're on the naughty list.
Good.
You're on the permanent naughty list. Shit, I'm gonna shit in your yard next.
It's 10 years too late. I should have been on the naughty list 10 years ago.
Stay crazy.
Fuck you.
By the way, happy holidays, guys.
Please, somebody help me.
Oh, yeah.